Welcome back, Stephen here, Steve Steele, as you already know, and we are on a Saturday afternoon, and if you watch the preview to this, you'll see that we had a bit of a brake fluid leak. Let's go around and have a look at it. We looked in here, hang on, let's give you some light. There we go. We had a look in here, and all of that bottom wishbone down there covered in brake fluid. You've got brake fluid here and here and here and here, and it's still wet. And it turns out that it's not the flexi, because that's new. It's not the flexi, because that's new. It's the copper pipe that it's screwed to, which is leaking where it goes round and over the top in there, and it actually looks like it's been badly positioned and it's rubbing against the wishbone. Now that pipe ends here, but it starts all the way over here on the other side. Let's see if I can find this for you. There we go, there are two. That's the flexi on the near side, and its pipe here, and just behind it, I don't know if I can show you without actually climbing underneath the car, but just behind it is the pipe that comes up and disappears over the top of the subframe to the other side. Given where it's broken, I'm not going to be able to put a replacement or a repair in that little hole, in that little sort of 6 inches. I'm going to put the repair on this side and run a new pipe all the way over. I hope that makes sense. There you go, there's the two pipes. It looks like, I know, one of them is an air hose for the air suspension and the other one is the brake pipe. So that's what we've got to replace, is that old brake pipe just there. That's what we've got to replace, that brake pipe just there. And we'll put the joint in that kind of area somewhere. We'll see if we can pull it down and get to it. All right, so let's go and get some tools together and see how we do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the brake pipe at the other side and get in there and unclip it from its clips all the way across where it's clipped onto the underside of the chassis, so that I can see how flexible the bit at this end is, so I can work out if I can bend it out to flare it and put a joint in it. So the first thing to do is grab some wire cutters out of the big box of tools here. I know I've got some somewhere. Big there. Does your toolbox sound like this? That's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to be pretty brutal. I'm just going to brutalise it and cut straight through that. That's it. Cut. And then I think this side of it is all unclipped anyway. It is. So we'll just randomly chop off a bit on the other side. That's it. Now I think what I want to do, obviously I need some good material to work with. I think if I cut it off about there, the piece that's left I'll be able to tidy up and flare a new end on it. That's it. piece I've taken out. So here's the piece I've taken out. I mean, it's all pretty manky, but this is where it was thinking. You see, it's actually fractured the pipe just there, and that's because it's been rubbing on the wishbone. I wipe the fluid away and it immediately starts weeping out of there again. So this is the piece we're going to replace. The pipe is now pulled out to here. It's dripping, of course, because it's still got brake fluid in the pipe. We're going to have to do a load of bleeding. I'm going to give that pipe a clean up with a bit of Scotch-Brite, cut a clean end on it, and then flare a new fitting on the end of it so I can make up a new pipe to go across the top. Grab an appropriate tool. Making it an inappropriate tool. A nice clean end on it, and the brake fluid dripping out of it is cleaning all the swarf out of it, which is good. I've got a cheapo Draper brake flaring kit here. I've got a cheapo brake flaring kit here from Amazon. I've got some 10 by 0.75 male and female fittings and some pipe, and so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to clean up the end of this pipe that's dripping away here. We're going to push a fitting onto there, and put a flare on the end of it. I should be able to get in there. I should be able to do it there, and then we're going to bend it back up inside, pass a tube over the top, carry on. Yeah, clean up the end of that. Scotch-Brite. Right, bit of Scotch-Brite. Clamp this on. See if I can get a position to look what I'm doing. You might be able to see this while I'm working on it. Apologies if you can't. I need to be able to do it. Well, you need to be able to see it. It's gonna be a fiddly one. Oh, do you know what I've forgotten to do? You didn't bloody remind me, did you? That would have been a disaster. You forgot to put the fitting on it first. If you flare it before you put the fitting on it, it ain't going to fucking work, is it? put that on there. You nearly let me do it, didn't you? You nearly fucking let me do it without telling me. You were just going to laugh when I made a fool of myself in front of a billion people on YouTube. Awkward place to work, but we'll make it work. There we go. Single flare on that because it's a pig of a place to work. I can't be asked. I know it'll work. There we go. Single flare on that. That goes there. Good. Right, now what we need to do is drag a pipe over the top to meet that from the other side. There we go, double flare. Is that lovely? That'll do, won't it? Right, I'm going to poke that through from the other side. Lovely. Right, now what we're going to do, we're going to bend this roughly back to where it's got to park. Alright. That'll be fine. And then we're going to bend this in a way that it will hopefully meet it. Bit like that. My coil cable on the other side is all hooked up. Can you see that pipe running across there? It's actually in the clips, and there's the joint that I made. Just there. So there's a joint, there's a new pipe running across. It's in the clip at this side. We're going to go around the other side, put it in the clip there, and then we're just going to work out how much to cut off to make the new end. And yes, you're right, I should be using the proper tool, but I can't find it. Or I couldn't find it before I started the job. Bend that around there, around there, around there, up there, like that. That's in its clip up there. And that's going to bend down that way. Come down here, and it's got to bend back, and then it's got to bend up. So actually, we might have just about the right amount. If I pull that up there, I know you can't really see what I'm doing. Show you what I'm doing. So, we've got the pipe now coming across from the other side. I've got it tucked down here. I'm just going to end, and it's got to go there. So what I've got to do is bend it there, forward and down, so that we come into this space and we come across turn and come up into there. I don't know why I bothered doing that actually. I could have just undone the flexing, couldn't I? There's a clip there, I can put that in, which would be a good idea because it will stop it from doing the same thing again and rubbing on the top of that wishbone and getting worn through. That needs a clip on it. I need to find one. The right fitting on it. It's a female. No, sorry, it's a male. Like that. Just have a double flare on it. I need to disconnect the old one from the... Okay, are you still with me? Good. Right, so I need to take that old fitting off of there, which I think might be a 10 or it's an 11. It is an 11. I can't find my 11mm spanner at the moment, so okay. So there's one I've taken off. So now we need to put a nice double flare on the end of this. Lovely. Right, so that's going to go in there with this little clip behind it. Let's change that bracket. I need to do some salvaging. So just while I've got this in pieces, you can see this clip here. Yeah, you got that in focus? Good. You see this clip here? There should be another one up there, holding this down. And also this bracket here is for the handbrake cable and stops it from rubbing against the linkages, and obviously that's gone as well. Right, there we go. Right, there we go. That's the clip I was looking for. And you might wonder why people don't just replace them. First of all, they go brittle and they break, and so people end up breaking them when they're doing this job, and obviously they don't have any lying around, so they don't bother replacing them. But Also the point, and this is the reason I do salvage them, that you can't buy for less than 15 quid. There we go. Right, that's better. And for that handbrake cable, I am going to have to use a tie wrap. And the reason for that is I don't actually have another bracket available. It should have a nice bracket with a grommet in it. And I haven't got any. So it's just going to get hooked up out the way with a tie wrap. That'll have to do. So, have we done this side? I think we have. Now what we can do is we can go and tighten up the fitting on the other side and then bleed the brakes. And that'll be all lovely. This is what I've done. So we've got brake pipe coming all the way across and down here, around here, and into this flexi, which is a new flexi. That's the clip, which is now all nice on and replaced, and that's all connected up, and that's just lovely, just lovely. And as I say, now what we're going to do is we're going to go around the other side. We're going to tighten the join we made on the other side. This one in here. Tighten that up so it stops leaking. And then we're going to get some brake fluid and we'll bleed the brakes. 1/12 of a turn each time. Very annoying. Okay, I think that's about as tight as it needs to be. So, brake fluid reservoir is there. Hopefully I've got enough brake fluid here, because otherwise I'm going to have to go shopping and buy some more. Pump some in there. Right. Now you ready for this? That's going to be an 11 as well, isn't it? Oh, 11 mil. Ooh, there we go. Right. Put that on there. Using the magic of compressed air. Bubble, 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 bubble. You watch that, I'm just going to go and check the bottle at the other end. Oh, we're starting to get fluid through. Yeah, let me go and check the bottle at the other end. Getting dangerously low on fluid. I do hope I've got enough to do this. Come on. Come on. Come on, my beauty. Let's have some fluid. It's not all pissing out the other side, is it? Oh, it is fluiding. That should be it. So that's pressurized and it's holding pressure, which is good. Just watch that needle for a sec. No, that's all right. This junction here. Just watch it for me. It's not dripping. I think we're all right. I think it's time to put the wheels back on and take it for a little test drive, don't you? Join you in the car in a minute. Let's go for a drive. We got brakes. Usual test run route, about 2 or 3 miles up the windy lanes here in sunny Wales. Now we're off my drive, I better put the seatbelt on. We're off. No bangs or rattles on the speed bumps. Absolutely lovely. Any wheel alignment yet. So the steering's feeling a little bit heavy, just a little bit, but it's going in a straight line. So, let's go back to the beginning of this story, shall we? Yeah, let's go back to the beginning of this story, shall we? The Tonga Green Range Rover L322 2005. It's a TD6 M57 engine. I collected this from my mate Chris J Parts, you might know him as, back in, might have been late November or early December last year. We're now beginning of March. If you scoot back through the playlist for this project, you'll see my limping home video where we had numerous problems with the engine cutting out and just misbehaving in general, and then we did a number of videos on fixing the engine problem, which I think the engine itself is fixed. It's still got a slight starting issue sometimes when it's warm. I think I know what's wrong with that, but we're going to come back to that. And it's still got a slightly juddery torque converter. Single track lanes make space for oncoming vehicles. Now we fixed the air suspension. The compressor was tired and not compressing anymore. And I have now gone through all of the suspension on the car. I've replaced all 4 knuckles, hubs, wheel bearings, all the bushings, wishbones and all the bushings on them. I haven't replaced the subframes. Front one's absolutely fine. Rear one's got a lot of surface rust on it, but is basically okay. If you know my business, I sell remanufactured subframes for these. You can go and look on my website, Steve's Steel. It will be linked on my profile and so on. And my problem there is the reason this didn't get new subframes was basically I can't keep up with the orders at the moment, and so I got customers' orders that were taking priorities over this project, which is the car for my wife to drive. So we did all that suspension stuff. We replaced all the track control arms and bushings and bearings and wishbones and links and hubs and knuckles, wheel bearings. I also, more out of necessity than just preventative maintenance, I also replaced all 4 CV joints. And what else have I done? I've serviced the brakes all the way around. I've put new brake hoses on it, brake flexes on all 4 corners, and as you've just seen, I've replaced some of the hard pipe work. I've done a load of welding on it. We've replaced both the trailing edges of both sills. What else have we done? We've replaced both rear wheel arches, the inner parts behind the doors because they rutted through, and the jacking points. I've been through all 4 inner wheel arches, taken the liners off, taken off the loose surface rust, treated it with rust converter and wax oiled it. And I think we've now got basically a perfectly working, roadworthy, will pass its MOT on Monday car. I don't think there's anything more to do to this in terms of drivability and safety, apart from, I think I said, we've got one issue with the engine which I need to sort out, which is to do with a warm start, and I think it's just possible that's the camshaft position sensor. They do age not very well, and although I haven't seen any error messages coming up, aging and warmth put together can stop them from working properly. So we'll investigate that. That's something that, as we finish the car and drive it, we'll get to know more about. So that's it. The car is going for an MOT on Monday, and hopefully I'm going to get, while it's up on the ramp, I'm going to get them to stick some judder fix in the gearbox, hopefully sort out the problem with the torque converter. I have got a new torque converter to go in this, but I haven't got anywhere suitable to work on it at the moment to do that job, so that's just going to have to wait for another day. Hopefully the judder fix will solve the problem. And that's it. It's working. I've got my foot on the brake. Nice brake pedal. No unusual noises. No cracks and grinds. No boing of doom. I've got to think about how much this cost. We might have to do a bit of adding up. I think it's probably cost a bit more than I forecast. Not a lot. I'll run through it quickly in my mind. I'll think out loud. Let's go right back to the beginning. Engine. We put new glow plugs in it. We put new fuel filter. We did an EGR delete on it. What else did we do to the engine? Air filter oil, those are just service items. I don't count those because you should be doing them anyway. What other improvements to the engine did we do? Oh, we swapped an injector, but we swapped that with one that I had in stock anyway. That was a salvage from another car, so that was zero cost. So engine, glow plugs, and EGR delete stuff. I also put a new thermostat on it. And did I replace a hose? I think I might have replaced a hose. So let's say that was 100 quid. I think that would be a fair assumption. 100 quid for the engine. And now it's really smooth. This is a really nice engine. I also replaced the middle fuel pump, the electric pressurising pump for the low pressure side of the fuel system. I don't know that the old one was dodgy, but I wasnwasn't content with it, so I just put an eBay special on it for 30 quid. So we're at 130 quid. Welding I did, so sill repair panels, bits and pieces. Now most of that was repaired with parts I had lying around. I had a whole side, so a whole left-hand side repair panel, original equipment, and so that repaired the whole of the left side, and the offcuts from it repaired the right side. And the only part I had to buy was the arch repair panel, which was about 60 quid. Everything else was done from stuff I had lying around, so engine and welding, 200 quid. Then I did complete front suspension rebuild. So the kit of parts for the lower links and bushings and bearings is 100 quid from eBay. So we're on 300 quid now. Check my maths, keep up with me. I hope someone's writing this down. On the front, I also replaced from my stock a knuckle, wheel bearings, ABS sensors all round at 60 quid, they're 15 quid each, and brake pad wear sensors, they're a tenner each, so that's 60, 70, wheel bearings are 20 quid each. Let's call that another 120 quid. So where were we? 3, so we're on 420 quid. And then on the rear, I replaced the wheel bearing and the top and bottom bearing, which is another 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Let's call that 100 quid. So where did we get up to? We were on 420? 520 quid. Have I got my sums right, or have I missed something there? Isn't that sweet? This is just driving so beautifully. The wife is going to love this. It feels tight. It doesn't rattle and shake. It doesn't go clunk when you drop the wheels off of a speed bump. Brakes are responsive. No judder, no nothing. I did replace both rear calipers with old stock from my pile, and both rear discs and pads and things, but that was all salvage stock. That was just from me collecting stuff and then shuffling through it and finding the better bits and putting those on. One of the calipers I had to replace because the bleed nipple broke off. I could have just eased it out, but frankly it was less hassle just to pick up another brake caliper off the floor and put that on it. So we're talking about a 500 to 600 quid. If you'd had to go and do the same salvage yard exercise that I did, you might have spent another 200 quid on parts. If you'd had to buy the repair panels for the welding, that might have been about 150 quid. No, I think that's it. So if you were going to do this job yourself, you would take this completely knackered Range Rover L322 and turn it into a lovely car. Did I put new rear brake shoes on it for the handbrake and new handbrake cables? I did. Less than £1,000. What a bargain.